There's a blackbird that calls where our countrymen fought, where lives were laid down by the score, where stands now headstones for those that have gone, for that is the cost of war. In those foreign fields we walked where men fell, in the silence of a new day. Hear the birds sing, life carries on, the names of the dead remain. Chiseled deep into stone, some names will live on, bear witness to folly of man, paid with their lives the ultimate price, in the hope peace would come again. And the blackbird sings as it has through the years, same song we now all hear. Back then with the dawn came the roar of the gun, the mud, the chaos, the fear. Fathers, sons, brothers, friends who did not return from a war fought on foreign fields, when it was done with so many gone, so many who never would heal. Stones stand to this day like soldiers on parade, engraved with too little to tell. Some bear a name known or a nation they're from, some only a cross, that is all. But here lies all that's left of a man at his best, who answered the call when it came. How was he to know that when he left home there'd be no returning for him? And the blackbird sings, the sun lights the stones. Trees then were barren of leaves, as with war, when it's done, with spring leaves return, life will start over again. Will soon be forgotten the names of the fallen, back home in the land they were born. But in fields of France where stand the graveyards, their memories forever march on. And the blackbird sings the last post calls at dawn or the gathering dusk. Those sounds were the same for our countrymen never came home from France. Blackbird. When the local men dropped by our place, drank mother's beer and reminisced, I remember they laughed a lot and smoked their cigarettes. Well, they talked about how their day had been, dogs, horses, and summer rain. Long after the sun gone down, they'd head on out back home. Yeah, mother's beer was legend on our road, best local beer brewed, I'm told. Man's voice needs to be heard to know he's not alone. When you work back country, sometimes you get down. Yeah, news those days was black and white. The men would talk all the night. Mother's beer brought them there. Talk can save your life. It was trouble most what they talked about, sorting tricks of nature out. Fortune don't grow easy, hope sometimes runs dry. Yeah, mother's beer was legend on our road. Best local beer brewed, I'm told. A man's voice needs to be heard to know he's not alone. When you work back country, sometimes you get down. There were some found it was too damn rough. Sleep with the devil, do God's work. Feed the family, build a home, watch the mortgage grow. Well, they cashed up, some blokes moved on out, gave away the jobs they loved, dropped by for one last beer, one last sun going down. Yeah, Mother's beer was legend on our road. Best local beer brewed, I'm told. The men would all gather round and lay their troubles on the ground. When you work back country, sometimes you get down. But if the boys all stand together and retell their crazy yarns, you understand a black dog sleeps with the neighbor's dream. If you look out for the local men, we all walk dark side now and then. Sometimes all it takes to know is you don't walk alone. Yeah, Mother's beer was legend on our road. Best local beer brewed, I am told. If you talk of trouble long enough, it soon don't feel so grim. Mother's beer can save you when the dark side's coming in. Mother's beer, thank you. I never saw the old bloke, he didn't wear that hat, and what he said to his dog I didn't understand. But the old black dog never bothered too much anyway. First time we heard some of the things he said, and it's funny how they get stuck in your head. And one day someone asks, "Where'd you hear what you just say?" Like at the rugby, the wing made a break and scored in the heat of the moment as the crowd roared. I got a clip on the ear for shouting, "You mongrel bathtub." Well, that's what the bloke said when his dog made a break round the ewes, turning them off. The situation's the same though, the wing ran a whole lot faster. That old shag dog probably understood more than most of you would think. There were times he's known to drive a sober man to drink. And that's why the bloke had a bottle of whiskey and most of his water troughs had nothing to do with incurable thirst. It was all the fault of the dog. You'd see him leap up and down and wave his stick, and if the wind was at your back, it's a pantomime completely without sound. But on those wonderful days with clear blue skies, if there's no wind, the words arrive tumbling off the hills and shaking crows out of the trees. Always seemed to me that old shag dog had a collection of names a mile long. When the wind's in the south, I must have heard all of them. Well, in the early morning, his name was Billy. Never was too long before he's a brainless, bone-headed, bald-faced, bigoted, bumptious, belligerent, bollocking Bolshevik. He must have done something wrong. That old shag dog probably understood more than most of you would think. There were times he's known to drive a sober man to drink. That's why the bloke had bottled whiskey and most of his water troughs. Nothing to do with incurable thirst. It was all the fault of the dog. Shag dog once saved the old bloke's life from a charging crossbred steer. Shag swung on the tail and turned a beast by hanging off an ear. Well, I guess Shag knew with all the hullabaloo that a dog's got to do what he's got to do, and sometimes a dog's only there for a bloke to talk to. None of my dogs were as entertaining as anything that old bloke was training. My dogs were mostly there to make a fool of you. Though I did one time have a dog named Spice. It was named after the neighbour's wife, and that's a story a wise man probably wouldn't tell. Old Shag Dog probably understood more than most of you would think. There were times he's known to drive a sober man to drink. And that's why the bloke had a bottle of whiskey, and most of his water troughs had nothing to do with incurable thirst. It was all the fault of the dog. The fault of the dog. Thank you very much.